Giving all glory and honor and praise to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching this 100% truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children. I'm your brother Magan Shalamar. The title of this video is All Nations Have Drinking from the Golden Cup of the Whore, which is America, Babylon the Great. I'm going to start this video. This is fair use, not for monetary gain, but for educational purposes only. It's basically showing you how America has gotten all the other nations of this world to drink from her cup, that cup. Speaking of in Revelation 17 and 18, through her philosophies. Fair use.
So it's a system that neglects the child while at the same time demands the child, okay? And this is trauma. And again, most kids will be traumatized by the system. But there are some kids who will thrive in the system, and the trauma will encourage them or drive them to achieve so that they get into Yale, so they can compete in the Hunger Games, so they can go on in life and compete some more, okay? And that's how the system is set up. And this is what we call the meritocracy. And as I'll explain to you later on, it is destroying America and the world, all right? So that's how the system is set up. And guess what, guys? Is it different in China? Not really, okay? All right, so the concept of meritocracy has conquered the world. It started in America. It actually started at Harvard, but now it's conquered the entire world, and that's why the world is so messed up.
Yeah, they call it meritocracy. We know it to be that golden cup of fornication, which is American philosophies that she spread amongst the whole world.
John Kerry's the Democratic nominee, George Bush is Republican nominee, right? They're both skull and bones. They're both Yale skull and bones. Okay? So it's a rigged game. Well, Barack Obama, okay? Barack Obama, Columbia, went to Harvard Law School, but he promised hope and change. He told people in 2008 that the game is rigged against them, that he would be their champion, that he would make America more fair, okay? And he won. Why? Because, so this is his book, Dreams My Father. It was a New York Times bestseller. It basically launched his political career. He won because in 2008, the U.S. economy collapsed. Why? Because the U.S. banks, the U.S. political system was controlled by Ivy League graduates, by just people,
AKA the small hats, the top elites of the banking family. You have the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Oppenheimers, Murdochs, DuPonts. You know, those are top banking families of today that are actually the Illuminati, the illuminated ones, the elite, you know, small hats.
People who are friends with each other. And so they cheated. They became corrupt. Okay? They basically destroyed the American economy. And people protested against all this.
Bring us back a little bit.
Career. He won because in 2008, the U.S. economy collapsed. Why? Because the U.S. banks, the U.S. political system was controlled by Ivy League graduates, by just people who are friends with each other. And so they cheated. They became corrupt. Okay? They basically destroyed the American economy. And people protested against all this. And Barack Obama promised that we'd come in and do something about it. Okay? Well, he did do something about it. All right? So his economic team, he appointed quite a few individuals. These are the two most famous. Larry Summers, who was a Harvard graduate as well as a president of Harvard. And he was Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton, and he was the guy who created the mess in the first place. And then Tim Geithner, who was a Dartmouth graduate, and he was the Treasury Secretary, okay? So these are friends of Wall Street who came in to save Wall Street. So a lot of critics say, it's Wall Street who created this mess, who destroyed the American economy. They should be punished, or at least they should feel some pain. If you just let them go and help them out and save them, then you create a problem called moral hazard. The idea of moral hazard is if you don't have any consequences for your mistake, you will do it again. Okay? And then Larry Summers said, no, you guys are seeing it incorrectly. We have to save the American economy. The goal is not to save the banks and my friends. The goal is to save the American people and the American economy. And that's why we're bailing out the banks by giving them free money. Okay? And then the critics were like, well, how about all these American homeowners who've lost their homes? Shouldn't we help them as well? And do you know what Larry Summers said? Moral hazard, guys. Do you understand moral hazard? If we help out these ordinary Americans, they won't learn anything. Okay? So, as you can see, people were angry. The banks got saved, the people got screwed over. And guess what, guys? Because of this, who did we get? This guy. Okay? This is why he won. There were millions of Americans who voted for Barack Obama because he promised hope and change. And then they voted for Donald Trump because he promised to destroy the system. Okay?
And they're all puppets for the small hats. See that? They all puppets for the small hats.
Trump. Okay, so it's not just Barack Obama. It's a lot of people in the American political class. They're just soulless robots. Okay, this man is J.D. Vance. He's the vice president for Donald Trump. Like Barack Obama, he wrote a book, a bestseller called Hillbilly Elegy, and it's possible he becomes president of the United States as well. Now, you may not know this, but when he first came to prominence, he opposed Donald Trump. He thought that Donald Trump would be a fascist and be a dictator and all that. And then suddenly he changes his opinion and says, Donald Trump is the greatest guy in the world. Okay? So these guys, like J.D. Vance and Barack Obama, they have no ideas of their own. They're just puppets. They just tell people what they want to hear.
Puppets.
All they know is that. So another example of this man's name is Johnny Kim. Okay? And he'll probably run for president of the United States one day, or at least be a U.S. senator. Why do I mention him? Guess what, guys? He was a Navy SEAL, which is the top position you can ever achieve in the military. He was a secret soldier, okay? He went to Harvard Medical School, became a doctor. And then he joined NASA, became an astronaut. This is like the ideal Ivy League graduate, okay? This is what Harvard wants. Now, why is he able to do all this? Well, because this is his Wikipedia entry, okay? In 2002, the police went into his house and killed his father. He was there and he saw the police kill his father. He was traumatized for life. His father was a domestic abuser. The father was violent, crazy, hit him all the time. Okay? So he has dissociative personality disorder. And in fact, if you look at most of these really successful people, they do have dissociative personality disorder. And that's why he was able to do all this, because he turned the trauma into an energy to drive him to greater and greater achievement. The problem, though, is he has no ideas of his own. He's just a puppet, guys, okay? So let's conclude and summarize why the meritocracy is so great. It creates this extreme inequality in America, okay? So it destroyed the school system because all people care about are their grades now, right? People don't even care about learning anymore. All they want are the grades. In fact, if you get a bad grade, you'll probably complain to the teacher. In which case, the teacher's not afraid to teach you, because if the teacher tries to challenge you, make you a better student, you'll just complain. Okay, and if you don't succeed, your parents will come and complain. Okay, traumatized children. Okay, okay. If you look at the rate of mental illness in China and America, it's just insane. Death of American dream and social mobility. You're not going to be richer than your parents. You're just not. Concentration of wealth, power, and status in the 1%. The richest get richer. Political divide between left and right. Okay, so you have all these political divisions right now in America. Corruption. So Wall Street just steals and steals and steals, and no one can do anything about it. Destruction of American identity. Globalization, immigration, woke ideology. Okay. Incompetent mismanagement. You look at COVID. You look at the fact that America now has $37 trillion in debt. An elite that is soulless, mediocre, and unimaginative. Okay, Barack Obama, J.D. Vance, this guy Johnny Kim. Okay, they're just robots. Oh, and Donald Trump. Okay, so thank you, American meritocracy, for destroying the world.
This is Revelation chapter 17. We'll start at verse 4. It says, "And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth." And this is America. This woman is speaking of America, that whore that rides on the back of the beast. She's in control of all the other nations in this world. The EU, the NATO, this all is a reincarnation of ancient Babylon, ancient Roman Empire. So it says again in 17 of Revelation 17:4, it says, "Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication." And this is what that guy was going into. As you can see, it's talking about her philosophies. This is the cup of what America pushes on the whole entire world. The democracy, the religion, ideology, homosexuality, lies, adultery, covetousness, and murder. All of that is in that cup. In order for these other nations to get rich, this is what they have to take up along with America. They have to become like America, drinking from that cup. And let's go into covetousness. In the Etymon online, it says covetous, inordinately desirous to obtain and possess, avaricious. Okay. It says covetousness, the desire of possessing more than what they have, or anything good whatsoever, of which they have already enough for their uses. And I'm putting the word there because the speaking is directly to the so-called white man Esau Edom, beginning with the top elites of the small hats, man. They can't get enough, you know. And this is in order to do that, this is the philosophy that they push on the world. Go back to 17:4, Revelation. "And a woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication." See that? That's the filthiness of this place, man. That's why America has to be destroyed. And Esau Edom kingdom on this earth, the wicked, has to be destroyed. And it will be destroyed when Yahweh Shah returns, and in the midst of World War III. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. It says, "Yeah, also because he transgresses by wine, and he is a proud man." And that man is talking about Esau Edom, and his wine is his philosophies, right? That we just read about in that golden cup. "He neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." You see that? And that's what he does. That's what the so-called white man does. That's his philosophy, is he never gets enough. His desire is hell, right? Hell is never filled, meaning the grave is never filled. His desire is never filled. It says, shall not all these take a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, and that clay is talking about with thick debt, right? And that's what he puts up on these people, man. That's what he puts on the whole entire world, mostly the children of Israel, the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Indian, to keep us from being a nation. Let's go to Revelation chapter 18, and we're going to go to a couple of scriptures here. We're going to start at verse 2. It says, well, we start at verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down. You see this, the head in this Babylon is falling. Verse 1, it says, after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and become the habitations of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Right, because this is what America is going to become. It's going to become that after the fire dies down, it's going to become a desert, pertaining to Isaiah 34 and Jeremiah 50. You know, it speaks about how America is going to become that, and 13 as well. Isaiah 13 speaks about how the place is going to become a desert, just filled with wild birds and wild animals. Verse 3 says, for all nations have drunk of the wine of her wrath, of her fornication. And that's what that video was talking about, how America has destroyed the whole world through her fornication of her philosophies, man. They call it I forget that M word he called it, meritology, something like that. But we know it's nothing but his philosophies, America's philosophies. It says, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. See that? And that's the way that America pushes their democracy across this world, this evilness. This is verse 9. It says, lament for Babylon. It says, and the king of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. You see, in 1 hour that Yahweh Shai, when he returns and cracks that sky open with his holy angels in them chariots, beaming down that laser beams from them chariots, man, destroying this place along with the ICBM missiles being kicked off from them other countries that enjoyed that the wine of her fornication. They also going to be destroying her, you know, and that's after the MOTB is released. We know that to be the micro C hit that's going to come upon the whole entire earth. So we're just waiting on Esau to go ahead and push that out, that New World Order, and then the rest of these prophecies is going to fly off the pages, man. Yahweh Shai is going to soon come and crack that sky open. So with that, I hope you was edified. Giving all glory and honor and praise to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, HaKadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom.